2016. VCU football is back in action here at Municipal Stadium, and this is the preseason special for the VCU Wildcat Football Insider Show. On this episode, we're going to talk about a number of things. We're going to talk about the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. We're going to talk about that special teams unit. We're going to break down the schedule, some key games you can watch, and we're also going to talk with head coach Terry Sims about what he thinks this season could be. It could be a very, very special season for the Wildcats. Last year, Bethune-Cookman went 9-2, just missing out on the FCS playoffs and a chance in the inaugural Celebration Bowl. Of course, North Carolina A&T went on to that bowl and celebrated with a victory over Alcorn State, helping the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference go 1-0 in the history of the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. This season, the Wildcats are looking to get off to a strong start as they host Alcorn State right here at Municipal Stadium in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. The MEAC has had a great record in this absolute dominating series. Only 2 losses, both of those coming to Southern University. Bethune-Cookman in this is 2-0, looking to go 3-0 against the SWAC in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Let's get ready to talk about the offensive side of the ball this year. It could be an explosive season for the Wildcats on the scoreboard. The Wildcats have a number of returnees on the offensive side of the ball, especially at the wide receiver position. Breaking down the wide receiver position is a number of players that could be breakout stars. Jawill Davis had a great season last year for the Wildcats on the side, as well as Frank Brown. But a couple of other cats are going to put their name into that hat, along with Kevon Mitchell and just John Tavius Carter. I mean, the list goes on and on. It could easily be the deepest Wildcat receiving core since 2002, and fans remember that was an MEAC championship season for the Cats. Now let's go to the running back position. Michael Jones headlines what could be an explosive backfield. Obviously, losing players like Anthony Jordan could come back to hurt, but when you just keep plugging holes in there with Mike Jones, Tupac Ismi, the list goes on and on at the running back position as well. Anything can happen back there, and especially when you're using an offense as explosive as a spread option. But we're looking at the spread option, it starts with the boys up front. That's the offensive line. You have guys like Trevin Huff, all MEAC selections. You have Philip Norman. You've got Dazzy Morris. Those guys are going to anchor that offensive line, which absolutely has weight, size, speed, and can burst off the ball. They're going to open up the hole for those running backs and give someone that is going to trigger the offense a chance to throw the ball. That is going to be the quarterback. Now, when you talk to head coach Terry Sims, offense coordinator Jim Pry, who also helps out with the quarterbacks, they have no clue who could be the starter right now. It has not been named, and it may not be named until the day of the game, just because of the fact that the quarterbacks are 4 deep. We remember this happening a couple years ago when you had Brock Waters, you had guys like Quentin Williams. You had so many quarterbacks that could have played. This year, you've got 4. Yes, 4 quarterbacks that could easily take the trigger. You start up front with Larry Brim. He's the lone returning quarterback that has actually seen playing time in the collegiate level on Division I. Larry Brim comes back after a good breakout season last year. He had redshirted the year before, came in, got a very good season, learned under Quentin Williams last year, who had a phenomenal season. But Brim is going to be expected to be a key returnee. Now, behind Brim is going to be a guy that people have been swooning over for quite some time and waiting to see his debut. That is Akevius Fat Daddy Williams. Out of Madison County, this quarterback is explosive with his legs. He has a great arm, tall, and absolutely has the physique to be a phenomenal quarterback here at VCU. But let's talk about the 2 new quarterbacks, one of them being Jabari Dunham. Dunham comes in from UT Martin, where he spent a couple of seasons up there, played in the spring season just a year ago, and had a good debut in the spring game. But he hasn't seen actual Division I playing time. So Dunham will come down here expecting to get a little bit of playing time, learning the Division I system down here on the FCS level, where he was at UT Martin as well, and now gets to actually look to get on the field and trigger the offense. But one person people have been talking about over and over since signing day, that is Cruz. It's just Cruz. Anthony Cruz comes in as a guy that was up at Globe Tech in New York and had a phenomenal career at the JUCO level. He has an arm, he has eyes, he has vision, he has absolute speed. He can break out of anything, but he also has the reliability to sit back in his pocket and actually give those big boys up front a chance to block. So he won't take off as quick. He'll sit back and he'll look to pick defenses apart. 4 quarterbacks, offensive line, receivers to throw to, and running backs to run it. That's the offense that could be explosive in 2016. We're going to come back and talk about the defensive side of the ball in just a minute. You're watching the preseason special for the VCU Wildcat Football Insider Show.
At VCU, every game is a life lesson.
A chance to show faith,
respect,
and sportsmanship.
It's bigger than winning or losing.
There's life beyond the game.
Opportunities beyond the classroom.
Responsibilities to our community.
On a much larger stage.
As ambassadors to the world.
Leaders, champions, we are Wildcats. And we believe in faith, integrity, and love. Enter to learn, depart to serve. That's the Bethune-Cookman way. Go Wildcats!
Do you want to wear what the real Wildcats wear? You can get your official VCU Wildcat team gear from the comfort of your own home online at VCUSportShop.com, the official online store of VCU Wildcat Athletics. Save your gas money. Avoid the hassles in the mall. Click on VCUSportShop.com and get the best in Wildcat wear delivered to you in just 48 hours. VCUSportShop.com, the official Wildcat online store.
The DNA of Bethune-Cookman comes from the heart of a great woman whose legacy lives on today in each and every Wildcat.
I leave you love.
I leave you hope.
I leave you a thirst for education.
I leave you faith.
I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people.
Great leaders always leave something for others to follow.
What will you leave us?
Travel to Daytona Beach to kick off the college football season with the MEAC Swag Challenge. Experience the fun and excitement of Florida's Atlantic coast. And on Sunday, it's the Battle by the Beach.
He's going to score!
The defending Swag champion Alcorn State Braves take on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats in the 2016 MEAC Swag Challenge. Action begins at 1 p.m. Eastern at the Daytona Beach Municipal Stadium. The 2016 MEAC Swag Challenge.
Now we're going to talk about the defensive side of the ball and special teams. But before we do that, we're going to talk about a young man who started out on special teams, transitioned over to the offensive side of the ball at tight end, and that's Jaquan Loomis. As you remember, Jaquan had a huge game-winning almost catch down here at Municipal Stadium against South Carolina State on a Thursday night game broadcast on ESPNU. Jaquan Loomis will definitely be one Wildcat to watch on the offensive side of the ball after transitioning from special teams. Now let's talk about the guys who stop the points from going on the board. That's the defense. Head coach Terry Sims said last season that Charles Yogi Jones may have done one of the greatest jobs of coaching the defense in his career. As the defensive coordinator here at Bethune-Cookman, Yogi Jones is responsible for making sure that the defense lines up and keeps points off the board, having lost a whole lot, and that may be putting it mildly, from a season prior. Yogi Jones came back and actually put together a defense of freshmen, transfers, and guys who had no collegiate experience last season and helped the Cats go 9-2. The defense even won a few games on their own right here at Municipal Stadium and on the road. Last season, the defense was phenomenal. This year, it will be a step above under Yogi Jones. So now let's break down the positions on defense. Let's talk about the defensive line. There's so much along that line. Todney Evans, DeMarcus Womack, Kevin Thompson. Fans remember Kevin Thompson last season is one of the guys who took over the end-of-year special, talking with me on the couch at the Athletic Training Center of the Larry R. Hanfield building, and absolutely took over the show. He's charismatic, but he's also one of those guys on the field that is a true cat. He gets after the ball, swarms it. Aligned with DeMarcus Womack and Todney Evans, that defensive line will get after quarterbacks this season, stop run penetration, and be a force to be reckoned with within the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. When you go a step back, you talk linebackers. Having lost a couple from the preseason, now you talk about a guy named Trenton Bridges. This is a guy who, as a redshirt freshman, had a lot of hype on him coming out of DeLand, Florida. Bridges came in last year and had a phenomenal season. He actually finished in the top 5 for tackles last year for the Wildcats and finished in the top 25 within the MEAC. Trenton Bridges is certainly a guy with a bright future here at Municipal Stadium. When you go back one more step is the guys who are covering the receivers. That would be the defensive backs. Marquise Drayton is gone and actually went on to go to the Canadian Football League before getting released and is now continuing his career in pro football and has had a couple of calls from guys like the Green Bay Packers, the Raiders, and etc. So who fills in for him? Well, you've got guys like Arthur Williams, Daquan Richardson, Elliott Miller. That list can go on and on. It seems like the Wildcats just continue to get deeper and deeper every year at every position. Defensive backs is no exception. Elliott Miller came off the ball and made one of the best plays of the year last season at North Carolina Central, blocking what would have been a game-winning field goal in the rain, which was just torrential rain, until finally letting up just in time for Miller to get his hand on the ball and block it down, preserving the Wildcats' victory on the road at O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium, helping the Cats claim another co-championship. That's the defense. Now, let's talk about special teams. In the special teams unit, those are the guys that get the punts, that return the kicks, and put points on the board with field goals. You have a number of guys there, and all of them returning from a season ago. Let's talk about the returners. This year, it's going to be Frank Brown stepping in on punt returns, along with a guy who was known to be a ferocious punt returner at Western Michigan and is here at Bethune-Cookman, Jamie Wilson. He's also on the receiving corps. Jamie's going to be pulling double duty along with Frank as a kick returner and punt returner. Now, the guy giving the snaps to the field goal unit and the punters is Murphy Allen. Long snappers don't get a lot of love, but this guy certainly should. He has not had a bobbled snap in his last season here. That is a record that does not go on the stat sheet, but should be known. Murphy Allen is definitely a long snapper that will be a good one to watch this season at BCU. Now, when you talk about the kicking game, you have to talk about all MEAC preseason selection, Jonathan Cagle. Cagle comes back as a ferocious guy who just has a foot for days. It's a Sunday leg that a lot of people describe it as. He's a punter that can boom 60-yarders, can boom 50-yarders, can pin it inside the 20, can pin it inside the 10. He takes pride in placing the ball and helping the defense get on the field in a good position. Jonathan Cagle is definitely a guy to watch. Now, when kicking field goals, there's two guys to watch. One comes out of Miami Central, the other one just south of Miami and Homestead. The Miami Central product from a year prior is Giovanni Francis. Giovanni Francis has a leg for days. Last year, got acclimated to the Division I system, didn't get as much time on kicking, but did get kickoffs. This year, he will look to try to handle field goals a little bit more alongside the Homestead native, Uriel Hernandez. Now that we've broken down the positions, we're going to come back and talk with head coach Terry Sims and have a nice little Q&A on what he thinks could be the keys to this season and what he sees the season being overall. You're watching the BCU Wildcat Football Insider Show. This is the Preseason Special.
Travel to Daytona Beach to kick off the college football season with the MEAC Swag Challenge. Experience the fun and excitement of Florida's Atlantic coast. And on Sunday, it's the Battle by the Beach.
He's going to score!
The defending Swag champion Alcorn State Braves take on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats in the 2016 MEAC Swag Challenge. Action begins at 1 p.m. Eastern at the Daytona Beach Municipal Stadium. The 2016 MEAC Swag Challenge.
Do you want to wear what the real Wildcats wear? You can get your official BCU Wildcat team gear from the comfort of your own home online at VCUSportShop.com, the official online store of BCU Wildcat Athletics. Save your gas money. Avoid the hassles in the mall. Click on VCUSportShop.com and get the best in Wildcat wear delivered to you in just 48 hours. VCUSportShop.com, the official Wildcat online store.
At BCU, every game is a life lesson.
A chance to show faith,
respect,
and sportsmanship.
It's bigger than winning or losing.
There's life beyond the game.
Opportunities beyond the classroom.
Responsibilities to our community
on a much larger stage.
As ambassadors to the world.
Leaders, champions, we are Wildcats. And we believe in faith, integrity, and love. Enter to learn, depart to serve. That's the Bethune-Cookman way. Go Wildcats!
The DNA of Bethune-Cookman comes from the heart of a great woman whose legacy lives on today in each and every Wildcat.
I leave you love.
I leave you hope.
I leave you a thirst for education.
I leave you faith.
I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people.
Great leaders always leave something for others to follow.
What will you leave us?
Welcome back to the BCU Wildcat Football Insider Show. This is the Preseason Special. Well, I'm joined by a special person, a special coach, a special man, head coach Terry Sims. Coach, let's just jump right into it. We've talked about a number of things. We've talked about the offense, we've talked about defense, we've talked about special teams. Let's get your assessment of each one of those positions, starting with the offense. Where are they?
I think our offense is moving right along. had a situational day-to-day. We tried to make it as game-like as possible with substitutions, with the whole team being on the sideline and, guys subbing in and out. And I think they handled it well. And, our offense is right where I think we need to be at this point in time in the season.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the defense. We went through a number of guys, talked about Daquan Richardson, Arthur Williams, Elliott Miller, just a number of guys. Right there, the defense is steps away from where it was last year with Coach Jones. I mean, he had to work magic last year, and you've even said it might have been one of his greatest jobs last year. Now that he has the tools, just talk about where they are.
Well, our defense is ahead of our offense, and that's usually the case with most teams. The defense, they pick up the things a little bit faster, and it's not so much timing on defense as it is on offense. But, we have to go back and think. Last year, our whole defensive line was new. Elliott was a freshman. We had Daquan Richardson was a new guy coming in. Arthur and Marquise Drayton were the only two guys coming back that played on our defense. And right now, all those guys have had a year to play together. They're all back, and I think that's helping with, a little bit of our cohesion on defense. Those guys are playing together. They understand each other, and they understand where the other one is going and how the other one works. So I think that's big for our defense right now.
Coach, outside of the ball that you take very serious and always have, special teams. We talked about Uriel Hernandez and the things that he's done. He's matching Sven Hurd as far as extra points and not missing. Just talk a little bit about Uriel and Giovanni Francis and Jonathan Cagle. And then we even mentioned the guy who doesn't get a lot of love, Murphy Allen, because you got to get the ball before he can actually punt it or kick it.
Yeah, and I'll start with Murph, because Murph does not get a whole lot of accolades. He doesn't get a whole lot of credit, but he does a great job. Snapping the ball, and like you said, on our punts, on our field goals, our extra points, we have to get the ball before we can kick it. And Murph does a great job with that. He works his butt off as far as his technique and making sure that the little things that he needs to do to get better are done. And he does that every day in practice. With the little guy, Uriel Hernandez, he is an outstanding young man. He's as competitive as a defensive lineman. I mean, he does everything the right way. He does it 100 miles an hour. And he's a guy that you'd love to have on your team. Cagle, a senior, he's been around for a little while. And we're trying to make sure that we give Cagle the opportunity to be the leader that he is and that he can be, and he's leading that group right now. And and Giovanni Francis, he's another young guy, a freshman that had to play last year, and he's coming along. We have him doing a little bit of everything right now because his leg is so strong. But I think as time goes on during the year, we'll settle him into one spot, either punting or kicking off, and let him grow in that area.
Coach, year 2 under you here at Bethune-Cookman as the head coach, what have you seen in your growth from last year to this year personally? And we've talked about the team. Now let's talk about you personally. What have you seen in your growth from year 1 to year 2?
Being able to stand back and allow the coaches to coach and not think I have to put my hand in everything. That was, I think, a big mistake of mine last year because I have a great coaching staff. I just didn't know any other way to do it. But, get out there and get my hands in it. But now I kind of step in and step out and allow the coaches to do their jobs. And, I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed from last year to this year that I'm doing. And hopefully it works out for all of us.
Coach, when we look at the preseason standings, we've said it all the time, it's just preseason. But they have us at number 2, Bethune-Cookman number 2 behind North Carolina A&T, who did represent the MEAC well in the Celebration Bowl, the inaugural Celebration Bowl. Talk about what that means, being number 2. It means you're not quite number 1, but it means you're not the worst either.
Right, and just like you said, predictions are predictions. That's just what they are. And we're not going to say we're happy being there. We're not going to be upset or be mad because we're there. We just have more work to do. We got to go back to the woodshed and get our axe and continue to chop wood. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go in and we're going to continue to go through our plays. We're going to continue to go through our technique and make sure everything is detailed and our guys are disciplined in their efforts in doing that.
Coach, let's talk about something else now that's special. That's here at Municipal Stadium. You start off the year against Alcorn State here in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. What does this stadium mean? A lot of people look at it, they come in, they say, wow, look at that small stadium. But on Saturdays, and this year on a Sunday for once, and then also a Thursday, talk about what the atmosphere is like here at Municipal.
This place is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. Our fans are fantastic, and they have to understand that they are a huge part of our success. We cannot do what we do without them. The energy in this stadium on game day, with our band, along with our fans, you can't match it. So, yeah, it's not a huge stadium, but it's home to us, and it's a great atmosphere. It's fantastic college football atmosphere, on game day. I would not want to be anywhere else.
Coach, and the band too.
Yes, our band is unmatched. It's unbelievable, and with Donovan Wells and his crew, I love those guys. We're all close, and I know he understands how important he is to Wildcat football.
Coach, thank you for joining us on the VCU Wildcat Football Insider Show. This is Preseason Special. Coach, one word to describe Wildcat football this season.
Exciting.
Exciting. That's what this has been so far here, talking with head coach Terry Sims. We're going to come back and wrap it all up here for the VCU Wildcat Football Insider Show. This is a Preseason Special. Welcome back to the VCU Wildcat Football Insider Show. This is the Preseason Special. Now that we've broken down offense, defense, special teams, and talked with head coach Terry Sims, let's get to the part that you have been waiting for. That is the schedule. This year's schedule is a phenomenal one, and it looks like it could be one of the most action-packed schedules to be right here at Municipal Stadium and to follow the Cats on the road that we've had in quite some time. It all kicks off with the MEAC SWAC Challenge, presented by ESPN right here at Municipal Stadium, Labor Day weekend, Sunday, September 4th, 1 p.m. on ESPN. It will be a phenomenal atmosphere. It's the battle at the beach. The Alcorn State Braves, the defending SWAC champions, taking on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, last four-time defending MEAC champions. It's going to be Battle of the Champs for the battle at the beach right here at Municipal Stadium. Then the Cats continue their FBS schedule, which continues with North Texas. Now, over the years, the Cats have taken on some FBS opponents. You remember Florida State, FIU, which the Cats have defeated twice, as well as going down to Miami last year. Now, this season, the Cats will take on the Mean Green out in Denton, Texas. It's going to be a phenomenal affair out in Denton, Texas. Make sure to follow the Cats just outside the Dallas area. The Cats return home in a game that people have been waiting on for just over 2 years. It's the return of a series with the Tennessee State Tigers. That's right, the Tigers travel down from Nashville right here to Municipal Stadium on Hall of Fame weekend. The Hall of Fame class was presented by VP for Intercollegiate Athletics, Lynn Thompson, just a while ago, and it has a class of 13. That will take place prior to the game, but it will be Hall of Fame weekend here at Municipal Stadium when the Cats take on the Tigers. It's a game people have been waiting on, and I know they want to see. After that, the MEAC schedule kicks into high gear as the Cats travel just north to Savannah, Georgia. They take on the Savannah State Tigers. A new coaching staff, new leadership, new everything for Savannah State. Coach Sims knows how that is just a season ago, having had a new position himself. This time, the Tigers will be under the direction of another first-year head coach. It is their third head coach in the last 6 seasons. But, again, the Tigers have been one of the more scrappy teams in the MEAC, and it's always a great contest when the Tigers and the Cats meet up. The Wildcats then return home to face the first of a number of MEAC co-champions as they get ready to start Murderers Row. North Carolina Central comes to the Municipal Stadium here in Daytona Beach. The Eagles came off a great season last year under head coach Jerry Mack, and it is going to be a phenomenal affair as they look to avenge what was a great game in Durham last season. The Cats escaping as Elliott Miller batted down a blocked field goal, which ended up being the game winner for the Wildcats. Then the Cats head up to Orangeburg. That's right, the Berg. South Carolina State. Buddy Pugh and the Bulldogs are a formidable foe every single season. This year it should be no different as the Cats head up to Orangeburg. It's going to be a 1:30 kickoff. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a great affair. After that, the Cats come back home for a Thursday night contest against the Celebration Bowl defending champions and another MEAC co-champion, the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. Aggie pride is alive and well in Greensboro, North Carolina. They're going to bring it down to Daytona Beach and try to steal another contest. It was one of the better games of the year last year at Aggie Stadium when, yes, Tariq Cohen ran in from about 30 yards out to seal the win, but that was the game Larry Brim put his name on the map as a great player at Bethune-Cookman, getting some time with Quentin Williams having not one of his better days. Then the Cats are going to continue the schedule as they head up to Norfolk State. Norfolk State last year here at Municipal Stadium, it was homecoming. It was a shootout against the Spartans. Cats came away with the win. They're going to head to Norfolk State after that. Then they're going to welcome Delaware State, which is going to be a twofold game. It's going to be homecoming and senior day. First time that's happened in a long time here at Municipal Stadium. Delaware State Hornets coming to town October 29th for homecoming and Senior Day. After that, the Cats are going to head north, and we remember the last time they headed north to Baltimore. The November 5th affair against the Morgan State Bears. It was freezing back in 2012. It was actually more than freezing. If you remember, it was about 20 degrees. Cats got the win in what was a memorable game for Terry Sims. A lot of people know, won't go into elaboration, but Terry Sims actually got his first collegiate win, if you want to count it, in that game. After that, the next game, well, it doesn't need any hype. It doesn't need anything. It's the Florida Blue Florida Classic at the Camping World Stadium up in Orlando, Florida. Florida Blue Florida Classic against, that's right, the FAMU Rattlers. Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. Doesn't need any hype, doesn't need any preamble. It is just the game you need to be at. That's all the time we have. We have enjoyed having you here today, but we got to step aside. But if you want to follow the Cats throughout the year, make sure to follow the brand new state-of-the-art VCUathletics.com. We've got a new website provider, Sidearm. They do a phenomenal job. The brand new VCUathletics.com, as well as CatEyeNetwork.tv. If you want to follow us on social media, VCU Athletics on everything. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, as well as Facebook. We know you guys love us on Facebook. We see the numbers. Make sure to follow us, VCUathletics.com, on everything. That's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on the VCU Wildcat Football Insider Show.